know it all, and I've always known it all, and you got about it. But guess what? I don't care anymore. So you're going to go to court with me, and it's going to be a freaking journey. So if you want to play, I would be careful who you're playing with now. I'm done with my classes. I graduated.
I don't understand what your classes have to do with...
Are you kidding me? I went through mastery classes in every tradition in this world. I know magic you don't even understand. You could if you wanted to, but you kicked me out of the door.
So you're going to use magic against me?
I'd use anything I have to protect my children and to spend time with them. And since you're alienating me, it's going to look really terrible on you in court, especially since you're acting like a whore in your current relationship. So give me the kids now.
Just for the record, we tried to FaceTime you twice last week and you weren't available.
Just for the record, you play games and you have for a long time. And
Michael, I asked you to FaceTime them at 8 o'clock both evenings, and both evenings you weren't available.
Back to me?
Okay, are you going to talk to Sophie in a nice way?
Yes, I am. Yes, of course I am, because she's my daughter and I love her. You, however, betrayed me, so give me my daughter now.
Michael, you know we've been divorced for 2 years, right?
You know, Kelly,
Matthew, this is a call from Michael Long to Kelly Long, the parents of Sophie. And this is a live stream I've been meaning to do for like the last week, but I'm just now getting around to doing it. So... which I almost didn't even do this video. And now it's like super late again. I wanted to do this way earlier, but whatever. I just want to get this video done with, because I did do that first one and something like 200,000 people almost fucking saw that, so I kind of feel it's necessary to address this. I was going to try and do this last night, but one thing that happened was I got my husky a kitty, and that is a kitty that is now, I believe that's going to be Annabelle, but that is Akila's husky. Or wait, Akila's kitty. Wasn't even supposed to happen, but it did happen. But she looks exactly like a cat I had 6 years ago and lost in Colorado. So it was meant to be, I imagine. Man, this has been a hell of a thing. This whole Stand With Sophie thing. There's like a few different reasons why I kind of backed away from this for a minute. This situation just got really fucked up. There's a lot of things that I don't like about this Stand With Sophie thing and the direction that it's gone. At the center of that is a GoFundMe with over $200,000. And then along with that, there was also, I believe, PayPal's. There was an Amazon wish list at some point. There was God knows what was mailed or just direct message to the father, Michael Long, and sent to him by those means. Just multiple different fundraising and crowd fundraising abilities. There's at least $200,000 fucking dollars that were raised for legal defense. Yes, I was one of the kitties from underneath Paige's neighbors. So one big reason why I stepped away from this is because it was super hard to move forward with it without exploiting the shit out of Sophie. I mean, that's just straight up, it is what it is. I'm not even going to come out and just say Michael Long's just a straight up scam artist. I don't have enough evidence to make that claim. I do feel like I have enough evidence to make the claim and opinion that he's exploiting his daughter Sophie. I don't like to show the faces. Anybody that's been following, whenever it comes to sexual assaults and things like that, unless a child is missing, I normally don't like to put the possible victim's face out there. I normally always try and blur that. That's been a practice of mine for years now. And there's obvious reasons behind that. You're talking about the possibilities of a child sex assault victim. That's, you don't want to put that kid all over online. The internet's a terrible place. Who knows who's going to see that? What person? I mean, just overall, it's a terrible idea. And for weeks since this went viral, this kid was just being pushed out there. They were even selling T-shirts of her, and I'm going to get to all that momentarily. But like, I backed away a lot because of that exploitation. I feel like it's exploitation. You shouldn't be. Maybe that's just my own choice. If she was a little bit older and said, no, I want to own this, I want to show I'm not a victim, that sort of stuff, and had the sort of understanding to come forward and make that decision, I support that. Someone that's 9 years old, I don't think has the understanding to be like, yes, I want to be a poster child for sexual assault. So I'm just really not comfortable with that. And so that made it really hard because the father, Michael, was pushing Sophie on like everything, on like all of his social media platforms. She was on live streams, there was pictures, there was just, her face was everywhere. It was impossible to show anything that was going on basically when, like as this was developing over the last few weeks. So that bothered me. And then there was also like a weird YouTube channel conflict that like I really didn't want to be a part of. So I'm going to what I'm going to do though is I'm going to break down a little bit of all of this, because what happened was things really did start to fall apart with the whole Stand With Sophie team. Now, of course, there's some vicious followers and supporters of the Stand With Sophie side that it doesn't matter what happens. Like at this point, they're too committed to ever say there's even a possibility that they were wrong or they were deceived or manipulated on any level. And again, I'm also not saying that the little girl's lying. I think there's some sort of abuse going on here, regardless of it being actual sexual assault or some sort of emotional damages, abuse. Something's going on. But Nancy Grace even picked this up. And this is where things really kind of started to take a crash course for a minute. There's been multiple Facebook groups. The first Facebook group was huge. I think there was like 120 to 160,000 people in this Facebook group, and a lot of them did not give one shit what anybody was asking. They were doxing Kelly Long, Sophie's mother. They were doxing people. They were making threats. They were just, it was getting pretty crazy for a minute. But that Facebook group got removed. Then there was a second Facebook group that had around 60,000 group members, and that group got removed. And then now I believe there's two groups that have around 13,000 people, and they've like went to private. It's real. The social media aspect of this is weird, but I'm going to get into that too, because like some people found some old stuff from Michael, and I don't know if anybody really caught this side of that, but we'll get to that. What this was though from Nancy Grace was a statement basically from the mom, Kelly. This was before the last court date, where the overall understanding is that she's the mom, Kelly, is being worked to be reunited with Sophie and the other children. So there's not like this push of termination of rights or anything like that that you would normally see with a sexual assault case that caught this sort of national attention and pressure. It's concerning how this is playing out. Mother of a Texas girl whose case went viral after several online videos sparked a campaign against child abuse is speaking out for the first time. Kelly Long, the mother of a young girl seen screaming in an online video during a custody exchange with the child's father, said she has not spoken out publicly before because she wanted to protect the dignity and privacy of her children. I have been hesitant to speak out because, as a concerned mother, my foremost priority is to protect the safety and dignity of all my children, including Sophie. The entire situation has been heartbreaking, terrifying, and beyond comprehension. I'm just putting one foot in front of the other and will do everything I can to protect, shield, and help all three of my children somehow process the trauma they are experiencing. I can't wait to hold my babies in my arms again. Right now, I think this is the only link I have in the description, but like most of my lives, because I have a limit of how many texts I can put in when I'm using my software to stream to all the different platforms. So after this live is over, I'll go back in and I'll add a bunch of the links that you see up here on the screen tonight. But I think this crime online is already up there. But one thing I will say is that's a good statement. This also talked about Michael Long has substantial financial woes, which appears to be motivation for his attempts to monetize his child custody case. He filed for bankruptcy in 2011, leaving a debt of nearly $500,000. His current source of income is produced through a business that he runs with his wife, Courtney Chalmers, and family, in which they sell sand infused with spiritual energy online. Whatever. I mean, why not? There's a bunch of people that believe that shit, and I'm not even saying it's garbage or anything like that, but whatever. Sure, maybe you can make a profit from that. We are unfortunately dealing with a very volatile and increasingly dangerous situation. Michael Long will seemingly stop at nothing to destroy his ex-wife, even if it wreaks massive psychological damage on his family and involves stealing money from the public through false claims, said the family spokesperson. So there's like a general theme. And again, that link's in the description. And then I'll add all these other links and whatnot too. Censor court on Friday, and that's really what sparked this, of me wanting to do this live, because I actually, like I said, I've put this off for weeks. And honestly, I was at the point where I didn't even want to do it. But again, the first live I did on this got a pretty good chunk of views, so I know people were expecting something, and unfortunately I don't think this is what a lot of them are going to expect, but that I'm kind of known for that. I don't always tell people what they want to hear. So this is a statement, and this is a thing from Friday. It's both sides are literally saying like the exact opposite. So there's this like weird which side to believe, but both of them are still the general theme that Kelly, the mother, is being brought back into the children's lives, which again is super fucking weird just because of the national attention that this got over the sort of claims that were made. But the children's stay trial is being planned for January. We'll be adhering to the agreements we've made to ensure the safety and dignity of all parties involved. Much gratitude to everyone who has been part of getting us to this point. Praise to God for guiding us and giving us strength to persevere. Many blessings and much love to every one of you. And then we got an amicus attorney in the viral Stand with Sophie custody case, a neutral attorney appointed by the court to represent the best interests of the children, strongly recommended the children's mother, Kelly Long, be the sole conservator, according to court documents filed on August 19th, 2020. So that one's a little bit old. They just didn't publish it until October 1st. The original statement that I had that was put out there by Kelly after Friday's court was taken down. So let me see. I think this is how we could do that. I thought that last statement was a little bit newer. I guess it was just put out recently from an old court date. I didn't catch that, so that's my bad, guys. This is how we could do this. So after Kelly, okay. This is how we'll do this. After Kelly Long put out a thing saying basically they didn't even go to court, there was an agreement met outside of court where Kelly would start being reintegrated into the children's lives. Michael Long's side came up with this. So basically, every little paragraph that they made, just think that Kelly's side said the exact opposite. Like, I'm not even bullshitting when I say, like, both sides basically came to this weird split where both of them were like, well, no, that's not how it happened, but yeah, that's what's going on. So both of them ended up, or saying that it ended up the same way. For the most part, they're just both claiming different ways of how it got there. Speculation about there being a mediation, no hearing, no judge, are all false. Some is true, but not all of it. Judge made it clear he wasn't going to hear all evidence today, that it will be seen in January at the trial. Ad litem and amicus attorney made custody agreement, not Michael and Kelly. They had no say in it. Courtney and Michael have custody of Sophie until the trial. They have joint custody of the boys, not 50-50. The boys will go to Kelly's 2 weekends per month unless the counselors say otherwise, or unless it's a long month effective immediately. Kelly gets 2 30-minute phone calls with the boy once a week. Sophie gets to decide if she speaks or sees Kelly. If she were to say she wanted to see Kelly, the visits will be supervised. The judge issued an order. Jay can never see the children again. And if it's violated, there will be jail time. This is not until trial. This is indefinitely. Not allowed to be around the children, period. Judge was adamant about it. Kelly has filed documents for the court of her and Jake's son. Okay, I think they screwed that up. She's filed for custody of her son with Jake. Doesn't know if it's for full or joint custody. Annie said she doesn't know if the motive is to throw Jake under the bus or what. Kelly filed documents against Jake. Speculation is that Kelly filed those documents because she had thrown Jake under the bus because she didn't know what was happening. It's possible her stand's defense on it, that she didn't know what was going on. It was ruled posting videos, audios of the children don't need to be removed, no pictures, etc. The kids can be posted until the trial. They can only post Phoenix, Courtney and Michael's son. Stamma Sophie page does not need to be removed. Kelly doesn't have access to GoFundMe, and judge said they can continue the GoFundMe or any other things to get money for the children. So that's like where that is now, for the most part. This whole thing's a damn mess, though. So where do we want to start? Let's go ahead and listen to this phone call. This phone call just recently came out. Because like I said, there's several things that I want to address in this live. And then we probably won't touch this again until January. Or unless like something super mega happens. But at this point, I don't know. I do think something shitty is going on here. I don't know if the original intentions were to be this shitty, but you know, it is what it is. So this is a phone call that recently came out. It's from 2017. I believe the Without a Crystal Ball channel is the one that released this. And like Michael Long, who's been playing this like super sweet, like hippie, like love everybody, you know, oh, angels, you know, like he's had this whole persona through this whole time, the whole thing. And then this phone call got released, and it definitely shows a different side of Michael, because there is, you know, like, I don't know, there's just this very, very odd, like, persona he was trying to give off throughout this whole thing. But so we'll just listen to a little bit of this, because then it gets into like a weird conversation with him and Sophie and shit. Which I don't, man, even though she's all over the internet, I still don't feel comfortable blasting the kid all over and help. You know, this YouTube channel is a smaller channel compared to some of the channels that have been talking about this. But regardless, like, I don't like that. So I'm just going to play a bit of this. I'm not really going to play the him and the kid talking. Like I said, I'll put all these links in the description later, so you can go back and go find it yourself if you want to hear the whole thing.
I really don't understand, like,
I
where...
know everything you've done. I've been watching you the whole time.
What exactly have I done, and what do you need to talk to the kids about?
I know Ernest. I know it all, and you know I know it all, and I've always known it all, and you got about it. But guess what? I don't care anymore. So you're going to go to court with me, and it's going to be a frickin' journey. So if you want to play, I would be careful who you're playing with now. I'm done with my classes. I graduated.
I don't understand what your classes have to do with...
Are you kidding me? I went through mastery classes in every tradition in this world. I know magic you don't even understand. You could if you wanted to, but you kicked me out of the door.
So you're going to use magic against me?
I'll use anything I have to protect my children and to spend time with them. And since you're alienating me, it's going to look really terrible on you in court, especially since you're acting like a whore in your current relationship. So give me the kids now.
Just for the record, we tried to FaceTime you twice last week, and you weren't available.
Just for the record, you play games, and you have for a long time. And
Michael, I asked you to FaceTime them at 8 o'clock both evenings, and both evenings you weren't available.
Back to me?
Okay, are you going to talk to Sophie in a nice way?
Yes, I am. Yes, of course I am, because she's my daughter, and I love her. You, however, betrayed me, so give me my daughter. Now.
Michael, you know we've been divorced for 2 years, right?
You know, Kelly, I still carry all of those little sticks that you put in me, and I'm going to pull
Hey,
them
Sophie,
off,
can you come here?
Feel like. So just, that's fine, go to your lawyer, or I'll call your lawyer myself and all the witnesses, and I'll get them all ready, because I wasn't bullshit. I didn't know all that. People did call me, and I was trying to be nice to you. I've tried to be nice to you the whole time we've been together, and you were really terrible to me.
Hold on one second.
And you've been really terrible to a lot of people, so it's not going to fare well.
Hold on one second, please.
Thank you.
Okay, so, yes, that is a call from 2017. That's Michael and Kelly. I've seen that statement a lot. What it says, Brina, I want to know what the convo was before the recording started. I get that people get heated and shit like that, especially if you're going through divorce. There's also a thing, though, that there's only one person that can make you mad, and that's you. As far as her gaslighting him, I think that's a bit of a stretch. You... In a situation like this, and again, I understand people are human, but with the, like, just love everybody vibe that he's tried to push off on these different lives and such innocence and shit, calling the mother of your children a whore, that's not something that should be done. I mean, that's your own choice. You can blame gaslighting whatever you want. I'm not saying that's the worst thing in the world that shows that he's a terrible father. I'm saying that shows there's another side of Michael that has not been shown in all of these Facebook Live videos and shit. I don't think that was the first time he's ever used the word whore. And it also turns out that this is not the first time that there's been allegations of somebody molesting Sophie that weren't true. So, and it also turns out that there's evidence. There's no evidence that this little girl was molested. There's two problems, though. And for a second, I grabbed a few clips, because after this call came out, well, and that's the thing. If she cheated on him, any of that, whatever happened, I don't care. They can both be cartel members, and I don't care. Do blow every night and go to strip clubs. I don't care. That isn't my point of this at all. I'm more putting this, like, I think at the end of the day, I don't know if this was intended to be a scam from the get-go. I'm not really sure the original intentions, but I think it's definitely pure ignorance if you don't see the exploitation side of this. This is just an odd situation. Two of the problems, though, This is one of them. These bigger YouTube channels that got involved. And one of them was this, well, actually two of them, this 10 to Life and the Dad podcast, which, according to both of them, neither of them really ever got involved in stuff like this, but they basically became a voice piece for the father. And then as it played out, this Without a Crystal Ball channel basically became a voice piece for the mother. So it became this viral millions of views battle between these both parents basically, but via these YouTube channels. After that phone call came out, though, the 10 to Life channel did a live with this dad podcast guy. And I pulled a couple clips from there that I wanted to talk about, because I watched that and I thought it was just a little fucked off in a few points. Because this was supposed to be them coming on to say that they're completely unbiased. They want what's best for Sophie. And they wanted to do they wanted to call a truce with Without a Crystal Ball. And the problem is, by this point, the damage was done. And I'll show you some of the channel analytics and shit like that as we go through these, and kind of show you where and how this damage was done, where it was irreparable at this point. So let's see. I'm not even going to play these in a specific order. We'll just watch each clip and then see what it was. Actually, you know what? Let's go with the whore thing first. We will do this one.
I just feel like we covered it, and again, I just want to reiterate, it's proof of nothing, and it was 3 years ago. And if they like I don't know anybody who can hatch together a plan like this and then know the outcome like this. And so people are honestly.
Now, I want to remind you that these two are supposed to be being biased right now. This is them saying, sorry, maybe we have been listening to Michael a little bit more than Kelly. And this was after that phone call came out. So this is their bias approach.
Like, I like Michael. I've talked to him. I mean, it's a lot of credit to give any human, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. I think too, I'm seeing somebody, he called her a WHORE. Annie, are you kidding me? I've been called that by my ex-boyfriends. No, not because it's true, but I've been called that. I've called other people that when I was younger. I mean, when you're in the heat of the moment, you say whatever. I'm not saying that that's okay and that you can call a woman that. I'm just saying it's not that uncommon for people to use that kind of language in heated arguments.
For being like an unbiased, trying to repair some of the damage that they had done, when asked about Michael Long calling Kelly Long a whore, this Annie Elise's response was, well, I've been called a whore before, basically. That's a really weird flex. Definitely not going towards the bias side on that, or unbiased side. That was just very odd. But again, we'll get to why we're even looking at some of these clips, though, because these clips are a little more important. Actually, let's do this one.
I think it's important to look at this, and I think I've realized this a lot too, just stepping back, that you can spin it however you want as a creator, and if you're not coming forward with all of the facts. And that's what was done when these documents were shared. There were a lot of key details that were purposefully left out because it did not fit that side of the narrative.
Well, I want to address one more thing, the hypocrisy of something else, is that people are like, well, he put this, the one big argument I see from a lot of people is like, he put this, like, because when they have nothing left, they say this, well, he put this out there for the world to see, shame on him, shame, and we all know why he did it. But at the same time, and that's from some of these YouTubers, where they're like, well, he put it out there, and so shame on him. But they're literally, they're the ones making profit off of this. They're the ones sitting up there, again, I'm not going to hate on people for making profit off this. Like, I get what YouTubers need to do, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I just feel like you can't use that as an argument if you're doing the same thing, right? I'm not going to use that as an argument if I'm doing the same thing. You can't use that as an argument if you comment on this at all, you're not allowed to use that as an argument, because you're actually the one perpetuating. If you think that what he did was wrong, you're actually amplifying it. So you're amplifying two wrongs don't make a right.
That is just a clusterfuck of words. But on the paid thing, like they're talking about how obviously he put it out there for a reason, but the only thing that needed to go out was that first video. Nothing that followed that needed to go out after that. Sophie didn't need to do FaceTimes with strangers from the internet or celebrate her birthday online or be posted online ever a fucking again. That is where we get to that exploitation line. I feel like this is exploitation. There was also a bunch of claims that Michael Long was just straight up paying this Annie Elise to do his shit. Annie's denied that several times, but the thing is, she didn't need to pay her. Annie's now at 76.9 thousand subscribers. And in the last 30 days, she got 800,000 views out of her 1.8 million total. So this channel has had 1.81 million views in its entire lifetime. Now that we're like past 30 days since when this started, you're going to see some of this drop off, but she got up to 80,000 subscribers now. And the thing is, if you look at her channel, there's like 9.4 thousand, 8,000. She had some decent ones because they do like let's just talk about this trending thing real quick. You know, this, whatever just happened, we're going to talk about it. 6.5 thousand, 14,000 views, 8.5 thousand. Then we see the first Sophie video, 236,000 views. And another thing you'll notice how she changed, like it just became a solid Sophie block. So 236,000 views, 82,000 views, 204,000 views, 120,000 views, 286,000 views, 92,000 views, 61,000 views, 24,000 views. The majority of her channel literally came to life because of the Sophie situation. Since it's, like I said, this is just the last 30 days in her view count, and this is from TubeBuddy. It's an add-on that you can throw on your browser, and you can check out other people's channels, see what they're doing and shit, compare it to yours. But just from those numbers here, if we even do a quick little tally, what do we got? 236, let's see. So like 320, 520, 640, like 720, 810. Yeah, so you're talking about over 1 million people listen to Michael Long through this channel. So I get why people think that he was paying her. I mean, who knows? Maybe he was. I'm just saying that I don't think he needed to. At one point, she was talking about having a sponsor from covering this stuff. And then, again, the amount of views that she just got in the last month, the audience that she just built in the last month from covering this, she vultured the shit out of this. With, like, the Dad podcast, you can't really say the same. In the last 30 days, he had 300,000 views out of 3.75. He had a little bit of a jump from the Sophie stuff, but it wasn't anything like, well, I mean, that some of them were like 34,000 talking with Michael Long compared to 803 and 1.9. So, you know, I don't know. He might have done decent. But then, like, the only one, honestly, that doesn't seem like she directly benefited, not only did she, which, and I don't agree with everything that Without a Crystal Ball's done. I think all three of these channels got in a little over their head and completely, I think all of them got out, got blah, 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 got in over their head. The only thing as far as money-wise thing goes, this is the only channel that looks like it was not made or broke before the Sophie shit. I mean, she had 41.3 million views, at the start of this. So the Sophie thing helped her channel, but I mean, not by much. She had a pretty solid channel before any of the Sophie shit. But you know, that's one thing. Like when it does come to the money and everything, she like one of the easiest ways you can even do that, like I'll even show you guys. Like this is my channel right now. I can show you, like my channel is not monetized at the moment. I got denied because apparently somebody had a copyright on a police body cam video. But whatever. But if any of them do want to like talk about their paid and what they're making off doing that, just tell them to go to their monetization on a live. I mean, it's real easy to show. I can't accept super chats. I don't think I can do any of that because YouTube won't monetize me. And honestly, I don't think YouTube will ever monetize me because this is like the third time that I've applied now. That's why I got those. That's why the crowdfunding links are in the description. I don't think this channel will ever get monetized. I think this is my second or third time trying. And I mean, I think I cuss too much. I think some of the topics we cover are a little too fucked up. And granted, I haven't been super active on this channel, but anybody that followed me on Facebook when, I mean, like we like to go into like the Black South groups and shit like that. Just, I don't see my channel being monetized ever. Probably sometime in the future when I get on more of a structured schedule, we'll just look for direct sponsors and whatnot. I've always preferred direct sponsors over any of it, over monetizing through a third-party platform or crowdfunding or any of that shit. But I still got to get this channel a little bit more solid before we go hunting for them. Let's see. You know, I don't even know if I want to play much more. Actually, we will do this one because this one's been thrown around and I don't really understand why people are confused by this.
Mm-hmm. Also, there's been a lot of talk as to, okay, well then why did the judge give Michael temporary custody of the kids? And people are saying, oh, it's because that the day before they were supposed to do the exchange is when he, you know, called in the report about the men being there and the, you know, the essay that happened at the hotel and took her to the doctor. So the judge wanted to err on the side of caution and say, stick with Michael. Now, there's a piece which was also excluded that's in that court document that says, due to the ongoing criminal investigation into Kelly Long, the children will be temporarily with Michael, or Sophie, I'm sorry, will be temporarily with Michael, which everybody's been saying how there's no criminal investigation here. It's just a custody fight. It says, not just erring on the side of caution, due to the ongoing criminal investigation into Kelly Long. But that wasn't shared.
And
okay.
And here's the funniest part is that you had to look at her video to see that. It's literally in the video. You guys can watch it and see it yourself. She pulled that from a screenshot and she left that out. Mm-hmm. There is an ongoing criminal investigation. The judge has said it in this, whatever, in the form that she's got. So all the coming up.
Okay. No shit. Like I've seen people throwing around this criminal investigation, but no shit, there's a criminal investigation going on. You guys had people across the country harassing the police stations to the point that they even released a statement on a type of case they normally don't talk about. So yeah, there's a criminal investigation going on because the whole fucking country started demanding an investigation. Along with that, there was another thing that happened during, which I believe this has direct ties to it too. During the pickup, there was this that happened, or the attempted exchange from the initial viral video.
Yes. No, you don't! Don't wash your hands. I'm gonna... Sophie Elise, that is not appropriate. Please move. No!
asked us to stay in the car.
You have to come.
You asked us to stay in the car.
You have to come, Sophie.
I have talked to her the whole trip.
You know what?
We've
had 3 hours to talk to her to go
We had a really good time.
That's right. You did have 3 hours.
Yeah, you know how long it took to get her in the car? What do you just thank her?
Stop!
Her
You
will.
better stop right now! He's pulling my legs! Help me! Help me!
Stop! What are you doing? Let her. No, that's just not okay. This is not okay.
Okay, so there's two things for this. One, I believe that this is actually a criminal investigation because Sophie ended up going to, I believe it was actually ER, or even a minor ER. She went to medical experts who she had some injuries from being pulled on and shit. So I believe it was Fresno, off the top of my head. I don't have that police report pulled up, I don't think, but I believe it was the Fresno Police Department that said they were opening an investigation into this. And another thing with this video, this clip of the video, where, again, like, there's fucked up behavior on both sides here. Like, and that's one thing. Even if Sophie was lying, and I said this during the first live, you don't pull a 9-year-old girl like that. You don't. And so again, like, no matter what is going on here or the reason for this story coming out, regardless of how it was crafted, this is not how you respond to something like that. The Frisco, sorry, thank you, Chloe. Frisco Police Department opened an investigation to that night. Another thing, and I guess since we just showed that clip, there's 2 clips from that actual night when it comes to the actual abuse of this child, and that it doesn't matter if she's lying or not. No, this isn't about disbelieving children, Catherine. This isn't about disbelieving children at all. You need to stop just running with things because you just recently discovered that trafficking is a thing because of a hashtag on social media. Another troubling thing from that initial video with the grandma is when Sophie actually told her. So right there is another problem. The grandma started, because it is kind of hard to hear there. The grandma responded to possible sexual assault, sexual abuse of her grandchild by saying, but you got that role in the school play, which is super fucked up. So again, regardless, there's issues throughout this whole family, and that's evident. Regardless of if Sophie did somehow, if Michael did get her to make up this story or her telling the truth, the behavior of the adults in that situation were not faked, no matter what. The response of the grandmother was not a lie. That was her natural response in those situations. Her pulling on the child, her responding to the claim of sexual assault as she did, those were not lies, and those are very concerning. At best, that's very concerning behavior. So as far as the initial with, if it's like just a total scam, I can't speak on that. But again, what I can speak on is I think at best the situation has been completely exploited by Michael Long. Again, this goes back to the Amazon wish list, the Buy Sophie t-shirts. Who the fuck makes t-shirts to sell of their 9-year-old that was just sexually assaulted? Who puts their 9-year-old sexual assault victim child on FaceTime Live or FaceTimes? Sorry, I'm an Android guy. On FaceTimes and shit with strangers from the internet. God, I almost forgot about this. Recently just had her interviewed by this Tia Severino. Where's Tia? Which Tia Severino is just a fucking mess of a person. This is Tia Severino, and I guess she had an actual face-to-face with Sophie. And I'll actually get to if Michael planned this or not, because again, there's an old blog and an old YouTube channel that people found, but I think they missed the important part of it. I don't know that anybody actually talked about this part, but we're going to get to that in just a second. This woman's like an anti-vaxxer who, she used to do softcore porn. I guess there's like some sort of arrest charges. I don't remember exactly in her past. Don't quote me on that. But this woman... Michael allowed Sophie to talk to her alone, I guess, one-on-one. And this is Tia.
Hi there, boys and girls. Happy Halloween. My name is Vaca, the cow. And I have a very special message for you today on Halloween. Did you know that vaccines are named after me? It's true. Vaccine comes from the word vaca for cow. I know, I never would have dreamt it in a million years, but it's true. Did you know that the very first vaccine came from a cow? I was shocked to learn this myself, but actually, I have a little story for you. Back in the, oh gosh, it's been so long ago, I don't even know. A long time ago, in cow years, there was a man named Jenner. And he had heard a rumor that if you got cowpox from milking a cow that had cowpox, that you would somehow be magically immune to smallpox. Now, just so you know, it's like two totally different diseases. But anyway, apparently they'd been trying some like exposure to smallpox, and it was just making people really sick. So that wasn't working out. That idea wasn't working out so well. So when Jenner heard from these milkmaids that if you got cowpox, you wouldn't get smallpox, he got this idea to take like this pus scabs of someone who was infected with cowpox and cut a healthy person open.
Okay, I think we all get the point of Tia. Yeah, so he let this psychopath sit down with his daughter, who recently went viral for being sexually assaulted. Horrible choice at best. But I saw somebody ask, was it just a runaway train? And I don't think so. And there's a reason why I don't think so. Do I still have this channel pulled up? Ah. Okay, there it is. So this old blog was found, the Red Recruiter. And from what I saw, that lady was Tia Severino. That is a lady that apparently Michael Long let interview Sophie face-to-face, one-on-one, because God knows why. So the Red Recruiter, this is Michael Long. He also had an old YouTube channel where, I mean, you can watch videos of him, and we'll actually watch one of these videos here in a second. I think he wrote some weird shit on this blog, and that's more what people focused on. Like, it was because he's got some like weird spiritual beliefs, which, you know, whatever. A lot of people have weird spiritual beliefs. But there's some things in here that's a little bit odder. Like full circle and culture branding, creating a great corporate culture, crowdsourcing career advice, 6 things I learned at SHRM 11. This is where we get into the exploiting. I think from this stuff, actually, you know what? Let's even just play this video first.
All right, guys. So I'm in a rush, so I can't make a whole blog post today, but I just want to fill you in real quick. I'm sitting here with Laura.
Hi.
What's your Twitter ID?
The HR Princess.
HR.
The_HR_Princess.
Okay, there you go. We just got done with a big old Twitter lesson, which was a lot of fun. So listen, I'll give you the quick recap. Met with a ton of great companies out here at SHRM, some of which I'm going to write about soon. I'm going to do a pretty comprehensive blog post when I'm all done with SHRM. Some of the insights, I met with Hot Jobs yesterday, went into some detail about what they're doing and what the future looks like. I think it'll be an interesting topic. You probably want to learn a little bit about what they're up to. But I don't know, overall, again, I was a little skeptical coming out here about all the vendors and what they'd be doing. I found one in particular that really stood out to me that I'm going to share some information about. But I'm going to head over to a tweet up here shortly, and check this out. I got my red sandals on, like those. Yeah, pretty fancy. But
which it's also kind of weird that he had the Q crowd, because he did this whole like red shoe project, and sometime in the near future we'll do a look at the red shoe group, just because it's an odd part of like the conspiracy world.
Gonna put this on, gonna grab the guitar, gonna go out and have a good time tonight and hang out with everybody. The people here have been fantastic. The press here well, I'm in the press room, so say hi, press people.
Hola.
Hola. There's the SHRM press people.
So the basic drift there, which here, yeah, he did the red shoe project. So this shit though is back from like 2009. This is his SHRM 11, 2011. Let's see, what was it? SHRM 9. Let's see, which one was this?
All right, guys.
Day 3. Okay, that was 2009. So he did at least 2 different trips to the SHRMs. Just as I expected, the annual SHRM conference in Las Vegas was fantastic. In fact, it would be near impossible to spell out all the different perspectives that were shared and the takeaways that I received. So in the spirit of brevity, I'll sum it up with these 6 points. Facebook is a battleground. No matter how you slice it, Facebook is a mindshare land grab that may be a Marinism, by the way. We all know that over 700 million folks enjoy the blue and white social playground today, but what you might not know is how heated the battle for a professional platform has become. Branch out and be known are at the forefront of this face-off, and we are sure to see more in the near future. Blah, blah, blah. In essence, both are vying for the role of LinkedIn within Facebook land. It's all about engagement. If you've been putting off your plans for learning how to manage Gen Y and the generations to follow, your time is about to expire. It's all about engaging these newer generation of workers and making them happy. Why, you might ask? Well, just as before the recession, baby boomers are exiting the workplace, and Gen Y is quickly taking over the majority role. As this continues to happen, we should all expect to be overwhelmed by best practices and leading by example, peer management. Your people are your brand. Show me the numbers. Like, I believe Michael Long's even claimed that he like doesn't do social media and he doesn't know anything about it. But if you'd like my opinion on this, I think he 100% did a viral social media campaign with his daughter. If you think about how it was put together, this wasn't just one Facebook video that went out. This was a Facebook video followed by a Facebook group, followed by a hashtag, followed by Twitter, followed by linking Twitter accounts, followed by GoFundMe. This was across every social media platform there was. There was T-shirts. There was Amazon wish lists. This was launched like a political candidate would launch a fucking political campaign. Like, this had every aspect covered. This wasn't just like, oh my God, I'm so just taken over. And that's another thing. May, I just saw what you said. The Save Our Children, that hashtag was already going. The QAnon was already going. Both of those groups got involved and helped push it even farther. He himself was using the Save Our Children hashtag, which I think, because he's deleted like basically everything from his Twitter. Oh, that's right. He changed his handle from the Red Recruiter to Stand with Sophie. But, you know, even scrolling by quick, because I'm not just going to sit on him. August 30th, immediately tweeting out to Taylor Swift. Hashtag Save the Children. Stand with Sophie. So, you see this father tweeting to Taylor Swift. You see these different hashtags that he's branded for his product, which in this situation, his product was his daughter's story. You're talking about the different Facebook groups that he put together. You're talking about the Twitters. You're talking about the GoFundMe. You're talking about the shirt selling. You're talking about the Amazon wish list. You are talking about a fully active, well-oiled viral campaign. And as groups got knocked down, groups went back up. As admins left the different groups, new admins came on, and it is still up and accepting cash for GoFundMe. But even now, like Kelly's going to be seeing the children. So it's another thing is how much stuff has been deleted. That is concerning as well. Also, the privacy of the groups, now that people started to get started asking more questions and whatnot. The groups were public initially, and then they switched over to private. Then again, there's at the very least, because this is 2011 with this Sherm. In this video he did, which, shit, did I already click off that? In that video that we watched from Sherm, that's 2009. So right there's at least 2 years of him showing interest in social media, branding, actually going to conventions to learn about social media and how to use social media. Jobs to Web, Fan I Am, which all of these are written by Michael. TalentNet is, Journey to TalentNet. And again, there was a couple like weird ones that he wrote. Empire Avenue, the social media stock market. Like, this dude did a fucking viral campaign. There's like no fucking way around it. Because again, I'll agree if everything is how it was. He put the initial video out because he couldn't get legal help with his daughter, but after that point, there was no reason to sell t-shirts. There was no reason for him to let anybody talk to her from the internet. There was no reason for her to be in any of his live videos, posting pictures of her openly. None of that, because, and that's something that I have to admit, I've seen a few things like this. I've covered things like this in the past. I've actually spoken to the parents of situations like this in the past. And I've never seen one put their child out there like this after claiming this kind of abuse went on. I've never seen that. Especially, I think, two of the most disturbing things are the t-shirts and the direct communications with people from the internet. That's really really troublesome. And again, that isn't proof that this was just a full-blown scam. This could have, like, Standing Rock, when I was in Standing Rock, because I still say almost every single council member out there, especially Dave Archambault Jr., were corrupt. They had their own backdoor deals going on. I think that's a lot of why you saw a movement of thousands upon thousands of people from around the world fall apart in an instant, damn near. There was already backdoor deals going on. There was corruption going on there. I think what happened with Standing Rock was Dave Archambault Jr. tried to play it off. And so he did this cry of, we need people to come out. And then all of a sudden, a huge fucking following showed up. And now, Hannah, I don't think that he created a viral social media campaign. I think he saw the opportunity and then he put it into motion. Because it's not like he had all this ready to go, but once it started and once the viral hit, he bounced right on top of all this shit and had all of this shit was going before a judge order was even decided. But I think a similar thing. Dave Archambault Jr. and Standing Rock put out this thing of they're trying to put this pipeline in. We need people to come out. Then all of a sudden there was 15,000 people on the reservation, and they were like, fuck, this wasn't supposed to blow up like this. This blew up way bigger than we thought this was going to blow up. And then they kind of started trying to I don't know, it's like it got really out of hand. So I almost feel like the same thing happened here, where he saw an opportunity. You can use this to push this and make some good money. I mean, we're talking about over $200,000 just from a GoFundMe. Again, that does not include anything else. That doesn't include any personal PayPals, any direct mailings, any cash apps, any mailed checks, anything like that. It doesn't include any of that. This is a lot of money we're talking about. So I think maybe it did get a little overwhelming, and that's kind of how it felt at Standing Rock. The deal was supposed to go through the entire time, but now all of a sudden you have 10,000 people here that aren't leaving. And so all of a sudden your plan's a little fucked up, and you got to figure out how to get everybody off the land so that the deal can go on. It kind of feels like the same here, that this went way farther than Michael expected it to go, and now he's kind of shit, and they've made these groups private. Then there's just a lot of weird silence all of a sudden, and I would say more unanswered questions. And then also this 10 to Life and Dad podcast going out and doing basically, I mean, for the most part, that last live that they did together was PR damage. It was damage control. They went out and said, hey, we're coming at this from a completely unbiased point of view, but everything that this bitch just said is wrong, and everything Michael said is right, and this is why. So it got really bad. And at the center of it is still Sophie, which it's almost he bought her this expensive cat. You had people trying to tell her what to name the cat, name it Freedom. You fucking psychopath. She's 9 years old. Let her name it Tootsie Roll or some shit. It's a kid and her cat. So again, I can't say it's a scam, but this was exploitation. Plain and simple, this was exploitation. There was no need for any of this after the video went viral and people started helping. Hell, even keep the GoFundMe up, but the Amazon wish list and all of that shit, the selling t-shirts, the selling FaceTimes or whatever, which I'm still confused on that whole part. That's something that Annie actually says in that live with the Dad podcast. She briefly touches on him selling FaceTimes with Sophie, but doesn't really go into any detail. That's fucking weird. That's really weird for someone who claims to believe that their daughter is a sexual assault victim at that age. Now, and this is somewhere where I'm sure people will get pissed and start doing their save our children, believe all that shit. But there is other sides that you have to look at this as well. And this actually ties pretty strong into like a lot of the current shit that we're seeing today, like Save Our Children, which is a movement that this campaign 100% latched onto. This Stand with Sophie was basically hands in hand with the Save Our Children, which Save Our Children was Save the Children, and they were basically taken over by QAnon groups that claim all this crazy shit about Tom Hanks running a cabal, and he's been killed at Gitmo, and now there's a clone of Tom Hanks out, and Oprah and all these other people that were quarantined from COVID actually are on house arrest or they're in jail, but then when Trump gets COVID, it's because he's like part of a secret plan. It's that whole group, and like the people they're accusing, and the people that were like the real backbone of this situation. There's a Hampstead Christchurch child abuse situation that happened. When was this? 2015.
What I'll do, first of all, I'll tell you everyone's names so you're clear who it is. My name's Steve, and I'm a policeman, and I work here at Barnet Police Station. This lady here, her name's Cleo.
Cleo and Steve.
Cleo and Steve.
With Jean Clement.
So some of you may remember this video. Again, I'll put links to all this stuff in the description. This was Hampstead. Hampstead School at Center of False Satanic Cult Allegation welcomes judge's ruling. A Hampstead school that found itself at the center of completely false allegations about a satanic pedophile cult has welcomed a high court judge's ruling that the accusations were entirely baseless. 2 young children now in care have been forced to take part in the campaign in which lurid allegations about Christchurch School in Hampstead were made. The children, who can only be identified as P and Q, were forced by their mother, Ella Draper, and her boyfriend, Abraham Christie, to say they were at the center of a large group abused by a satanic cult. It was alleged that the children's father, Ricky Dearman, was the leader of the cult, and that the teachers and a large number of parents at Christchurch Primary, a priest at an adjacent church, and social workers and police officers were involved. Top Family Division Judge Miss Justice Poffley yesterday ruled there was no satanic cult at which babies were murdered and children were sexually abused. She continued, I am able to state with complete conviction that none of the allegations are true. The claims are baseless. Those who have sought to perpetrate them are evil and or foolish. She said that neither children had been sexually abused by their father, teachers, or parents at Christchurch Primary School, Hampstead, the priest at the adjacent church, or anyone else mentioned. She said the children had been forced to lie about their alleged abuse by the mother and Mr. Christie after relentless emotional and psychological pressure, as well as significant physical abuse, saying the children had been tortured. A statement from Christchurch Primary yesterday said the school community at Christchurch Primary welcomes the ruling, which has been handed down today at the High Court, in particular that the judge was unequivocal in stating that the allegations, which have been widely circulated on the internet about the school staff members, governors, and parents, were completely baseless, fabricated, and untrue. And that basically goes on like that. And there was actually this woman, Sabine McNeil, 74, she ended up getting arrested over this shit. A pensioner described as one of Britain's worst online trolls had been jailed for 9 years after ruining lives of parents she accused of satanic child abuse. Sabine McNeil, 74, led a campaign to uncover claims of devil worship and child abuse at a primary school in Hampstead, northwest London. McNeil harassed 4 mothers who cannot be named by claiming they were members of a cult who cooked babies and ate them. She said a series of baseless allegations against the innocent parents, which sparked a police inquiry, Southwark Crown Court heard. She published details of the cult online, saying they would drink the blood of babies and then dance around wearing the skulls on parts of their bodies. They would put them to sleep by injecting them, slit their throats, cook the babies, and eat them. McNeil even claimed babies were cooked in a secret room in a McDonald's restaurant on Finchley Road. Meanwhile, the pair whose lie and abuse led to 2 children making the false claims, which inspired McNeil's campaign of hate, remain at large. Yeah, so that goes on to it. Again, I'll add all of these in to the description when this is done. So this is not something new, because you got to realize the topic, and you do have to look at all sides of this at this point, because you just fucking do. Unfortunately, this is the world that we live in. There is that chance that this is all bullshit. I mean, plain and simple. There is a chance. As of right now, there's been no physical evidence that Sophie was sexually assaulted in any of the times Michael has made these claims. You know, again, another thing, and we as humans, because that's actually, that case is Hampstead, that's over in the UK. The 1980s, you got the McMartin preschool satanic sex abuse trials. This ties in with that whole Save Our Children, QAnon, just running with anything if it's children related, because you can't question it all or else you're a fucking bastard and you're going to hell. This led to one of the most expensive cases in America's history, and there was no criminal convictions. Like, and there was so many spin-offs of this. The McMartin case was a huge case where it was completely false allegations made, and many of them made by children. Bizarre claims regarding satanic orgies, grave robbing, and sex tunnels. Authorities reportedly interviewed more than 400 children connected to the McMartin preschool abuse claims. In the course of the investigation, media outlets reported an array of startlingly strange allegations attributed to the children. Among the abuse-related claims were: Ray Bucky flew in the classroom, took one child to meet a goat man, and took another child to a house where he let lions roam free. Animal sacrifices were committed involving a horse, rabbits, and other classroom pets. A series of tunnels under the school were connected to secret chambers for sex rituals and other abuse. Teachers and students visited a cemetery to dig up bodies. Teachers took children to orgies at a car wash in an airport. Children were flushed down toilets to sewer rooms for abuse. Children were transported to off-site abuse locations via hot air balloon. One child identified Hollywood actor Chuck Norris from a photograph, claiming he had been present for some of the abuse. So, even with these like wild claims, people get behind it when you're talking about a child. So this is something that a lot of it was a knee-jerk reaction. And I even have questioned myself what exactly is going on in that initial Sophie video. I said it the first time and I'll still say it. She's a hell of an actress. If that was completely made up, I would say, because here's the thing, with all the exploitation that went on after Michael got the help he needed, the shit that's still going on, the fact that there's still a GoFundMe up accepting money after receiving over $200,000. Like, there's two ways this goes. Either the story was completely made up, or Michael is a straight up sack of shit. That's really, there's not too much of a middle road, because if it's all true, and if Michael truly believes it's true, he has been exploiting his child to hundreds of thousands to millions of strangers online and taking money off of his child's abuse. This is not just about a court trial at this point anymore. Once you got hashtags, Facebook groups, Twitters, Amazon wish lists, t-shirt sales, You're not looking for justice at that point. You're not, that's not looking for justice. That is not looking to get custody of your children. That is looking to make a dollar. This, this is why I haven't even wanted to touch this, because that little girl's face has been everywhere and people have been applauding that, which I have not been able to wrap my mind around, especially when one of the biggest arguments right now is about saving children and child pornography online and whatnot. We have a huge problem with that right now. And one of the reasons for that a lot of people don't understand is because of our stressed relationship with Russia. A lot of these child porn sites are using Russian URLs. And so for US to step in and like get information they need Russia to work with them. The problem is with these stressed relationships, and this was actually told to me by one of the FBI people that do the forensic child pornography shits, like 8 months back at this point. This was one of their peoples, because I was actually calling them about a site that I'd found that was on a Russian server. And he said that they can't get that, like these foreign governments that won't work with them, there's nothing they can do. Like if it's being hosted on a Russian URL, there's not anything that an American like FBI cannot get in there and get their fucking information and figure out what that dude's doing. They need cooperation from the other governments involved hosting the actual site. So, which is just a quick little side spin-off. But like with this huge push for justice and like ending child exploitation, ending child pornography, why some of these groups would get behind pushing this little girl's face across the internet where you know there's these online predators is beyond me. Like that, I can't wrap my mind around that. Like a situation like this is one of the last things that you want to be introducing to online predators. They know, I mean, they basically know where this little girl lives, and in their eyes, she's a past victim. The dangers from doing this and pushing it as far as it did, and then once it did get pushed that far, to back down, because it really feels like now there's this weird back down. Like it's not this push for keeping Sophie away from these possible dangers. It's, I don't know. Like Michael's side has gone very quiet. They've gone very private. It's a very weird response after accepting over $200,000 from the public. So it's one of those things that I don't know that we'll ever know unless like down the line some texts come out, some shit like that. Nicole, there's a lot of websites that pedos go to. I mean, they fuck, there's Facebook and shit. WhatsApp is a huge one. But still, as far as you're like Maine, where the FBI is trying to step in for like hardcore child pornography, the majority of those are not going to be hosted on US servers, because people that are actually making money and selling those aren't fucking stupid. So, I mean, that's I'm not sure what your point is there, Nicole, but you fucking get it, girl. But so no, I I don't know. That's the reason why you haven't seen a follow-up yet on this Sophie thing. The two main reasons. One is the YouTube channels hammering each other, and then the main one being that Sophie's face was just everywhere, and I don't like contributing to that. Nicole, I'm actually doing a follow-up on this because the first one I did on this had like, I don't know, somewhere around 180, 200,000 views, so I kind of owed it to the people that sat through the first one to do a follow-up. That's typically how this kind of stuff happens. Overall, I'm not focusing on Sophie's case. I've done 3 lives on it, and one of them was like 7 minutes long with a phone call. Maybe a little longer. It was like, or no, what was it? I think it was Kelly and the police. Yes, Nicole. I'm saying that her story can be seen by pedos when there's much worse out there. This is true. But what exactly are you wanting me to do? Are you wanting me to go on Facebook and YouTube and tell people the URLs of fucking child pornography sites? Because I can't do that. So I'm not really sure what you're wanting me to do there. I mean, for the most part, when it comes to any kind of child exploitation sites, that's not something that, unless you know who's actually running it and whatnot, it's not normally the brightest idea to talk about and share it publicly, unless there's a way that it actually, you know, if it's on a if it's hosted by somebody that might actually listen to a bunch of complaints and take it down. Like I'm not really sure what you're asking me to do here, because it's not really. Well, you're asking though why I'm talking about Sophie's case and not this worse stuff. I don't really know what you're wanting me to talk about on that, because again, I can't show the sites. I can't say where the sites are. All I can basically say is what I just said, that the more hardcore child pornographic sites are going to be hosted in foreign countries to try and prevent them from being taken down. There's really not much more details to go into without telling people where to go find this shit, and I'm not going to do that. So that's where I'm confused. I'm not really sure what you're wanting me to say, because I can't really just sit down and do a 2-hour live and just keep on repeating like the general area and how child exploitation sites work. That I don't think anybody would really care about that. And plus I'd just be repeating the same very broad information over and over again. It's not. So yeah, I don't know. But the Sophie thing, this is just a follow-up. And even then, I'm doing this so far out, it probably won't even get a fraction of the views that the first one got. So unfortunately, a lot of people that came to that first one probably will not see this. If you are one of them, though, I don't, you know, I'm sorry, but I just pulled back from that whenever that it was just a kid's face everywhere. That was not something that I really wanted to take a part in. I also didn't want to join Without a Crystal Ball or 10 to Life with being Team Michael or Team Kelly. I don't really care about either of them. I still think at the end of the day, no matter what's going on with Sophie, whether it's made up, whether it's not made up, there's abuse going on there regardless. Like even from that video those video clips, like the grandma's behavior was completely fucking out of line. Mom's behavior is pretty fucking questionable with what she was saying. Maybe mom didn't hear what's going on. Those two alone. And then when it comes to like, if it was made up, obviously there's emotional abuse coming from Michael Long on that point. And then at best there is, I mean, I'm going to call it as exploitation. He's fucking he's exploiting the situation. So I think I'm really not too keen on any of the adults in Sophie's life from what I've seen at the moment. I'm not saying they're all the worst people in the world, but that definitely hinders me from taking either one of their sides, which I wouldn't do that anyway, because still at the end of the day it's supposed to be about Sophie. So I don't know. It's a weird situation. And again, like anybody that saw the first one, I apologize. I apologize for not following up quicker, but I couldn't really. I didn't want to take part in that. And if you watch, like in even this one, I try to keep her face out of this as much as possible. But yeah, I think he's exploiting her. I think all the parents involved have their own issues that they need to take up. Again, like the grandmother, I still think she's a bitch, straight up. Just her response to what Sophie said to her trying to pull Sophie out of the car like she did. I don't like her really at all. I hope the situation as a whole, turns out for the best. Hopefully the situation got enough pressure to where they won't try and do like a quick one-size-fits-all sort of solution, and there actually will be counseling and shit like that involved, because I do also think all sides could probably benefit from some counseling. Again, this is just my opinion though, so take it for what it is. I'm not like some of these other YouTube channels. I may be new to doing the YouTube and the lives, but I've been doing this for 6 years now. I've covered some pretty big stories, and I've been sourced by even bigger outlets over the years. So this isn't something new for me. I'm used to these sort of cases. I'm especially used to the viral cases. I've been spending the last 3 or 4 years now watching these different viral, everything, every different form of viral that you can think of, from a guy fucking a McChicken on Twitter to the guy that killed his girlfriend and posted pictures on Instagram. I've been following this kind of stuff for a while, and so that's where I say, like, this is an opinion coming from nowhere. I've never seen a parent follow up with this kind of stuff and this sort of behavior after getting what they wanted. Because that GoFundMe has still raised some money, but for the most part, there's been enough money for an attorney for a while. Like, all of that shit could have been cut out a long time ago. The GoFundMe could have been cut out. The initial goal, what was the initial goal? The initial goal was $25,000. So if that's what they were doing, fuck it, double it, hit 50,000, and then say, okay, we're good. We got attorney fees. We're going to get this kid out of their custody. We'll update you as we can. But aside from that, thank you for the support. That's normally how something like this goes. Even 22 hours ago, there was a $20 donation. Like, at this point, it's just gone. It's gone too far. This is I've never seen a response like this. I've absolutely never seen a response like this. He has like 5 now. I don't believe that he has multiple GoFundMes. Other people are trying to start GoFundMes. That's another thing that we do talk about a lot with these different things. And something like this, it's not uncommon to watch multiple GoFundMes pop up, and most of them being fraudulent. I believe at one point there was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 24 fake GoFundMe accounts up that were trying to make money off of Sophie and claiming that they'd give them to him and all that shit. But Nicole, this isn't about not believing what a 9-year-old says. This is about not believing the adults involved. But you do have to look at that side as well. Because I'll say it again, and maybe you're okay with it. Maybe if your 9-year-old daughter said that she was being molested, you would be okay with selling t-shirts of her and doing Amazon wish lists and different social media platforms and Facebook groups for them. Maybe you would be okay with that. I'm not. I wouldn't do that with my child. I don't have a child, but I wouldn't if I had one. I wouldn't recommend another person to do that with their child. And I've covered these stories, like talking to the families directly, and I would never give this kind of advice of, yeah, push this GoFundMe, you know, make a hashtag, you know, make sure you get, if anything, you know, the GoFundMe is understandable. Attorneys and shit in court is expensive. That I would have been like, yeah, 100%. Push a GoFundMe, get your money, and get your kid safe. But not like this. And you know, maybe even like this. It probably wouldn't even be as bad. No, Nicole, I've been in all of the fucking groups. There was an Amazon wish list, and then it was taken down. Then they started to do a new one. Then they said they were holding off on that one. And then they that I just recently was removed from the private groups. But I've been in those groups since the very beginning, and I've seen Amazon wish lists go around. I've seen PayPal's go around. I have seen a whole bunch of shit go around selling t-shirts. Don't give me that shit. If you want to, you can stand with Sophie, believe them and all that shit. You can do that all you want, but don't try and bullshit me on where this guy was exploiting the situation. Because I watched the whole fucking thing. Multiple people did. Hell, we got Glow over there on YouTube. Glow's pretty fucking excellent at paying attention to details, and she's even saying that, or she. Glow, I don't even know if you're a he or a she. But Glow is saying even saw the wish list. So now, there was multiple ways to buy and give cash. So what are you supposed to do when the courts won't listen? Well, you're not supposed to exploit the child you claim was just sexually assaulted. You're not supposed to sell t-shirts of that person. You're not supposed to have her do any kind of internet connections or conversations with strangers. You're not supposed to have her be interviewed by this Tia Severino that dresses up like cows and talk about anti-vax and shit. You know, it's fine. And I'm still not saying that Sophie's lying. I'm saying that at this point, you would be ignorant to not explore the chance that Michael did completely fucking bullshit this, which I hope that is not what the situation is. It gets a bit concerning that there's no physical evidence. It gets a bit concerning that this isn't the first time he's made these claims. So I mean, it'd be ignorant at this point if you completely ruled that out, because you're literally just pandering the bullshit you want to hear if you can't even agree that at this point what he's doing is wrong. It's completely wrong. This has been taken past the point of helping his child and getting legal funds. Like, this has been taken way past that point. It's... I've seen this kind of shit go like this. The different Facebook groups going down, the changing public to private, being super public, super out there, then all of a sudden you're super quiet. This isn't good. These are not good signs at all. I mean, they really aren't. And again, like, just knowing how social media works, you are talking about a viral campaign. Whether Michael purposely launched it as a viral campaign or turned it into a viral campaign, when you have every social media platform hit, you have social media groups, you have different multiple crowdfunding avenues, you have other YouTube channels basically speaking for you, places to set up your interviews for the public, people helping you with that, organizing all that. That is a viral campaign. That is 100% a viral campaign. This isn't a situation that you do a viral campaign on. It wasn't necessary. Like, none of this was necessary after he raised that first $25,000. None of this was necessary even when he hit 100,000 or 150,000. None of it was necessary. So at that point, you are in the realm of exploitation. That's my 2 cents on it, all around. Something isn't right here. If Michael truly does believe that Sophie was sexually assaulted, I still can't imagine just putting her all over social media like this. The talking to strangers from the internet thing really bothers me. That's really disturbing. That, like, that part is really, really, really fucking disturbing. That's something that never, ever should have happened, especially if he thinks that his 9-year-old was just a victim of sexual abuse. Why would you open your child up to strangers from the internet? Did anything else happen from this? Like, did some of this money, was it donated to a group that deals with child sex assault victims? Like, was there anything else raised, or was it all just back to Michael and stand with Sophie? There's a lot of questions that come into play here. With something like $210,000 just from GoFundMe, a lot of people, I would think, would at least be like, hey, we got enough for our attorneys, we're going to start putting donations towards this advocacy group that actually deals with this shit. So it's, but you know, the thing is, and actually what Sarah just said there, I wouldn't say a child coached and influenced by a parent is a liar. I don't think any of us will ever know the truth. I just hope the children get the best outcome in January, and that's honestly what the best is. And I would have to agree with Sarah there too. That's not, if the kid was coached to say any of this, I don't think that makes her a liar. That unfortunately makes her just a pawn. Kim, as of what Michael Long's side is saying, like just 2 or 3 days ago, Kelly doesn't have access to GoFundMe, and Judge said they can continue the GoFundMe or any other things to get money for the children. So, and that's another weird thing, the end of the little statement there, now it's just getting money for the children. Like, so no, the GoFundMe hasn't been taken down. It actually was just donated to 22 hours ago. There was another $20 put in. So no, there was nothing seized, it would appear. And that's another thing too. There hasn't been any arrests. There's like over the last few weeks, I've seen those come and go. At one point, they claimed Kelly was arrested and charged, and they claimed her boyfriend Jake was arrested and charged. There's been no arrests at this point. I think one of the most active criminal investigations that you possibly may see some charges come from would be like when the grandma's pulling on Sophie's legs, because police did say that they were looking into that because of the injury sustained during that attempted drop-off with Kelly. The initial video that started all of this. So Kelly did call the police on Jake. There's like, see, the Kelly and Jake thing is a weird situation. They also have PayPal and Venmo. I didn't see the PayPal. Actually, maybe I did see the Venmo. I did see the PayPal. I'm not sure that I saw the Venmo. But that also kind of points to the social media campaign, which again, and I'll put all this shit in the description after, and Cash App. Fuck, I forgot about the Cash App. I'm telling you, dude, that's another thing that we'll never know. When it comes to like personalized stuff, people that don't like GoFundMe, people that were just messaging Michael, because you got to think over the time, like that first group had over 100,000 people in it. The second one over 60,000. These current groups have like over 13,000 in each one last I saw. I don't know if they're both still up. So, and Michael is active in all of them and active on Twitter and shit. So you're talking about a couple 100,000 people just from Facebook groups potentially. And you're talking about them messaging him to say, hey, is there another way I can donate? Hey, is there somewhere else I can put some cash? I've never done GoFundMe. There's no telling how much money came from this. That's another thing that we may not ever know. He could have easily pulled $500,000 off this. Hell, he could have pulled $1 million. Who knows? Who knows what some of those personal, I want to give this to you, donations could have been. Yeah, and Facebook payments. I'm sure there was Facebook payments because you can use Facebook as well. People, and with a lot of crowdfunding, people that like, that's even why I started the Cash App and shit and put it in my description up there, because people, even if they want to support something, a lot of the time people do it through what they're comfortable with and what they normally use. So I think there's probably a lot of people that did not donate to the GoFundMe and probably instead just contacted, or they saw what they preferred. And that's how they contributed to God knows how much. But again, this is where I still say social media viral campaign, because I had seen something about Michael was talking about he didn't ever do social media, blah, blah, blah. But his old blog and YouTube channel says that he was going to the SHRM conventions and shit to learn about social media. Like, this is social media marketing shit. That is what this is. And this isn't just some blog with a guy that happens to have the same name as Michael Long. His Twitter that he changed the handle to Stand With Sophie was the Red Recruiter. This is the YouTube channel. I mean, that's him. Like, it's the Red Recruiter. This is Michael and his history of social media shit. So that would 100% explain how exactly this situation played out as it did. How the Facebook groups were created, how the Twitter was created, how the hashtag, how all the different crowdfunding sources were put out there, how it was such organized chaos. It's because he fucking studied this shit. He went as far as going to the actual conventions. And again, this one that he wrote about was in 2011. The one that he did this YouTube video about was 2009. In the YouTube video, if you missed it earlier, this is him talking about them learning about Twitter that day. So this, I mean, it was a fucking viral campaign. And the product being pushed was not a politician. It was not some sort of amazing cleaner. It was, unfortunately, his daughter's claims of sexual abuse. It's very disturbing how this is played out. It's very disturbing how this is played out. It's just typically in these sort of situations, you see a protection come over the child. You don't want the child out in the public. You don't want the child talking to strangers. You want to try and protect the child after the trauma they just went through. And with this, you're seeing like the complete opposite. And that was after raising the funds that he needed. So, you know, we'll just have to wait till January. Unless something else happens before then. But overall, this is like my explanation overall. Again, this is why I didn't do a follow-up sooner. This is why I wasn't even comfortable doing this video. I don't think that Sophie is the top priority in this situation. I don't think Sophie is the top priority in this situation by a lot of the people following this situation who think that they need to see pictures of her, you know, with her new cat and with her birthday, and you know, it's gotten so fucking weird. Like, it's gone so weird. That's right, TikTok. It was TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I mean, everything. They were on all the social media. Instagram. Fucking, I'm sure if you went to Gab, Parlor, some of the smaller ones, you could probably even find the Stand With Sophie crowd. You know, I don't know. It's just, it's a shame, because at this point, whatever road you go down, Sophie was being abused, whether it be emotional, whether it be physical, whether it be both. Like, there's no longer a clear path with this one where this child's just living a happy life. At best, she was just exploited after all of this happened to her. At worst, she actually was abused, and her story is 100% true. So, you know, there's not a good outcome anymore, really, in this story. If what she's saying is all true, you know, I'm not sure that Michael is exactly the best person for her, just because of his behavior after getting everything that he needed with this situation. Just because of his manipulation of social media and the exploitation of his daughter. I don't know. It's sad. Honestly, it's pretty sad all around. It's sad for a lot of different reasons. But I didn't do the Sunday shit show last night. That was because my puppy's kitty got here last night. Which, you know what, maybe here, you know what, because this is a sad situation. Let's fucking end it with something a little bit happier. Look at those stripes. Look at that kitty. I didn't do my Sunday shit show though last night because this little guy, or little girl, little lady, got here last night. My husky's kitty, because honestly it's my husky's kitty, not mine. So I'm gonna do that though this Sunday. And I think actually for Halloween we're gonna go with like creepy channels, maybe for the next 3 weeks, and then in November we'll get back to just our regular common psychopaths. The Sophie thing, I prefer not to do another one of these unless something big happens. I guess actually a third reason why I kind of stayed away from this is I saw like the people trying to build their YouTube channel off of Stand with Sophie. That's another reason why I waited on this. I don't want to build my channel off that because, again, anybody that follows me or has followed me for a while, this is not a channel that is going to appeal to just the Stand with Sophie people. You know, I'm sure a lot of them could enjoy it, but we're all over the place and we talk about at times some pretty fucked up shit on this channel. So I definitely did not want people to think that this channel was going to be like their go-to for Stand with Sophie and similar situations, just because it's not. It never will be. We'll always bounce around and talk about whatever the fuck is going on and whatever I want because it's my damn channel. If you want to do it different, you know, create your own damn channel. But we did this, so we got through it. Yes, the puppy Akila got a kitty, and Akila just met the kitty because Akila was actually staying at my mom's. May I appreciate that. Yeah, Akila was actually at mom's last night playing with her Great Dane.